When Joe Rogan started hinting that powerful people in entertainment were linking up with political power to protect their own, the internet went straight into detective mode. Tons of names got tossed around, but one name kept floating just under the surface like a shadow: Jay-Z. And that's where Jay-Z's former close friend DeHaven slides into the story.
Mine, the chick had a plan too. Like, yo, we could do things. And I can guarantee you the conversation with Emery, even when Emery came home and seen, he came home and seen the same thing. Yo, you dealing with her?
Who's the chick?
Desiree.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
He came home and had to see it too. Say, yo, what is this? And I can tell you how that conversation probably went. Like, look, man, you don't need to worry about this. You don't need to worry about nothing else ever again. You over here with us now. But what if, yo, she a snitch? Man, f that snitch shit, bro. Them people that's talking about that snitch shit, we ain't gonna be breathing in the same ear. Them, that's what you worried about? Them that don't have nothing sitting home? Where you gonna be if you don't get on this side of town, get on this side? I can see that conversation.
And from his perspective,
according to him, Jay didn't just climb through music and business. He survived by learning how to move between power circles without getting trapped. DeHaven claims that early on, Jay's inner world wasn't only executives and lawyers. He says there were also people around who understood how the federal system really works, like how investigations move, how narratives get shaped, and how outcomes can swing depending on who's connected.
This is what I'm saying and telling you. This is what will drive you insane. Trying to figure out what.
Right.
Is it just this?
Right.
Because this is all I know. Because if it ain't that, is that? Is it the snitch? Is it your informant friend? Did they come to you or did they get you? When did they get you?
Right.
Is that what you hiding? Is that what it is? Because this don't make no sense.
One name DeHaven points to is Desiree Perez. And the way he frames it, Jay didn't just meet people like that. He aligned with people who knew the rules behind the rules, the stuff most regular people never see. From DeHaven's perspective, those kinds of ties don't just help one person. They can extend protection to the whole circle. He says when pressure started hitting people around Jay didn't go to war with the system. He adjusted to it.
Knowing that he had Dalia. How much more of that? You know what I'm saying? What more would you need? So your supposed best friend, partner, does a project with someone that he knows your partner's girl when she was a child. And you still say that had nothing to do with me, I'm gonna still get money with him. You know, that one that was a wake-up call for real, for sure. And I don't think anyone that's human, if anyone could look the other way from that, they're a sucker. That a man should stop calling themselves a man if they can hang out with a dude that will work with someone that the person they love. And yeah, I was told by Aaliyah, do not shake, ruffle no feathers, because it's going to bring more awareness to it, and she wanted to move on. So she said, yo, you could be around, but I wouldn't be around the projects, but that record they did together, you know, you could be in the video, actually be in the video, because I wasn't going to go. She told me to go be in the video. She said, just don't be in no scenes or take no pictures with him. And I did that. I respected that.
Man, that must have been really, really hard for you. I can't even imagine how tough something like that would be.
Well, you know, it wasn't like I was crying about it, and it just made me look at someone that I a different way. And I knew that there wasn't too much more of a future forward. You know, I just realized that, again, our moral fabric was different.
And here's the part that hits hard. DeHaven basically says celebrity protection doesn't come from fans or money. It comes from relationships with real leverage. In his view, politics isn't about left versus right the way regular folks think. It's power linking with power, period. But what messed DeHaven up the most came later. He says after he fought his own case and won, he came home expecting at least a conversation, some respect, something. Instead, he says he got silence. No explanation, no closure, just distance. And to DeHaven, that silence said everything. He believes Jay couldn't afford loose ends. And once he hit a certain level, old friends stopped being family and started being risk. So, when people ask why Jay-Z seems untouched while others around him catch heat, DeHaven's answer is simple. And it's the kind of answer that makes the whole story feel way bigger than rap.
After 30, it's like almost like the devil comes and says, I'm going to give you 30 years to do what you want, but then it turns out bad. So I was surprised it took so long for something to happen, just based on what I was hearing. I was surprised it took so long for people. Like, it was crazy to me that the only time people say they're not fucking with somebody is when they get busted. But if they know it, they still fucking with them. They just don't fuck with them when it's not in style anymore. So that was more my thing. I was like, y'all know what when people were still fucking with it. And I was just like, I felt sorry for humans overall, because it was like, where's the humanity? Where's the like personal respect for yourself and morals? Like, you just do what everybody does. And it's still like that. So, like, again, with most of the people that are jammed up right now, people knew it. They just didn't say nothing until everybody else did. See, that's where I get somewhat ostracized, because I say things and call people out before it's fashionable. I call it out as soon as I see it. So you got to remember, pause, I was beefing with the Weinstein. And damn near everybody else that I don't with, it turns out that there was a reason for it that was justified. It's just everybody else was scared to say something.
Man, that's crazy, man.
When you're a futuristic thinker, you can see good things that are going to happen, and you can see bad things that are going to happen. It's just using logic. 1 + 1 = 2. Illegal stuff for a certain amount of time equals at some point you're going to get jammed up. It's just sometimes it bugs me out how long it be taking. But there's a lot of things that are going on in this world today that I'm like, I can't believe it hasn't, when are these motherfuckers going to get their skirt pulled, pause, you know what I mean? Like, when are people going to be able to see the real logic behind the evil that everyone worships? Is unconsciously worshiping someone that's evil devil worship? I think it is, whether you're conscious of it or not. The devil's never going to tell you they're the devil. They're going to come and make you think they're God, and then you're going to worship them. That's why I'm really particular about the way I move on holidays, because I don't know really what the fucking holiday means.
Jay isn't hiding from the system. DeHaven's point is that Jay learned how to move alongside it, like he knows which doors open and which ones stay locked. And Dame Dash says that same move smart, stay protected mindset is what slowly cracked their partnership. Dame points to one decision he says he couldn't unsee. Jay choosing to work on a major project with R. Kelly, even while serious allegations and controversy were already widely discussed at the time. For Dame, that wasn't just business. It was a loud wake-up call about where Jay's lines were drawn. He's also clear it didn't explode overnight. Dame says it didn't cause an instant breakup, but it changed the way he looked at their future, permanently. What shocked him even more was how long people kept showing up like nothing was wrong, acting like the noise didn't matter. And Dame's bigger point is about the industry's timing. He says accountability only seems to arrive after arrests, lawsuits, or public exposure. Before that, folks stay quiet, keep cashing checks, and keep doing business like it's normal. That silence, he says, is the real pattern. And that's why when consequences finally hit, it feels sudden, even though the warning signs were sitting there the whole time. Dame says what always bothered him is how people only start distancing themselves after the spotlight turns on. Before that, they stay close, shake hands, and look away until it's no longer fashionable. And to him, that isn't integrity, that's convenience. He says it made him lose faith in people, straight up. Where's the humanity? Where are the morals? If everybody knows, but nobody speaks until the crowd gives permission. Dame admits that's why he ends up on the outside a lot. He says he calls things out early, before it's trendy, and that makes powerful people uncomfortable. Because nobody wants the first person to say, "This doesn't look right." And when the public finally catches up, Dame says it isn't prophecy, it's logic. If the behavior stays wrong long enough, consequences eventually show up. What shocks him isn't that it happens, it's how long it takes. Dame also spoke about being careful with symbolism and influence, saying the dark stuff doesn't always show up wearing a warning label. He claims it can disguise itself as success, status, and being praised by everybody. And that's exactly why he says he moves careful and doesn't blindly follow trends or systems. He admits he doesn't fully understand everything behind the scenes, but he says a lot of his mindset goes back to how he was raised. Harlem taught him that character matters more than money, and sometimes walking away is just as powerful as winning. And that's the energy he says pushed him to step away from Jay-Z. Now, some people believe Jay-Z is moving extra strategic right now, keeping careful distance as attention tightens around Diddy and anyone connected to that circle. And then Jaguar Wright jumps in with her own take, claiming that caution isn't accidental, it's calculated. Jaguar says her perspective comes from firsthand experience being around that world.
Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it.
Huh? So there's been so many people on the internet trying to figure out where you are. They're watching you. They're doing all types of stuff trying to figure you out.
You want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing.
So are you trying to say like Jay-Z put hands on you?
I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. And they're going to be crazy. It's going to be the women that give him in the end.
So you say that that
Jay-Z! And I think it's time for him to start speaking up about his very good.
She claims that in the early 2000s, the behind-the-scenes vibe didn't match the public image. And, in her opinion, the difference between certain industry figures wasn't who they were. It was timing and who got exposed first. She also alleges she carries lasting emotional scars from that era. And while none of her claims are proven in court, her statements have still poured gasoline on online debate because people treat her like a walking insider, even when there's no public proof attached. Jaguar then suggested Jay-Z is cautious because proximity matters when scrutiny turns up. From there, she widened the conversation into how young artists were discovered and guided through the industry, questioning whether real safeguards were always in place. She raised concerns about artists being introduced to the business at very young ages and how big decisions were made on their behalf. And to be clear, these are allegations and concerns, not confirmed facts. Jaguar's core question was simple but explosive. How does a young artist end up sitting in a boardroom with powerful executives without clear family oversight? She framed it like a question people are scared to ask, not a statement of guilt, but the way she put it made the whole conversation feel way heavier. She pointed out how rumors spread when timelines don't add up, saying when family shows up late and money pops up fast, people start connecting dots. Fair or not. And once that chatter starts, it doesn't really stop. It just mutates and gets louder. So when folks ask why Jay-Z would distance himself now, Jaguar says it's pure self-preservation.
What would it take for Jay-Z to go down like Diddy did?
I don't know. But I got an idea that Evan Rogers is going to help me figure that out.
And who is Evan?
Evan was the producer who only seemed to work on teeny bopper projects, who discovered Rihanna at 3 a.m. in the morning in a hotel room on the island where she comes from with no parental supervision. And then she was put on a private plane, a minor, from one country to another without parental supervision. And she ended up in a boardroom with Mr. Carter without parental supervision. Y'all got young children. Would you just let your daughter leave and go to a whole other country with some money you don't know?
Absolutely not.
Doing talent shows at 3 a.m.
So you're saying that the rumors are true. There are rumors circulating that Rihanna was actually tracked here. Are you saying that
Starting to
that's
sound that way, don't it? Because her daddy ain't show up till 24 hours later to pick up a $500,000 check for his daughter's.
In her view, Jay has always protected the brand first, not the fallout. And when someone close starts sinking, you either go down with them or you step back quick. She didn't frame it like friendship or loyalty at all. She framed it like strategy. Jaguar's angle is that Jay-Z isn't defending a person. He's defending the system they benefited from. Because when one pillar cracks, everybody standing nearby gets inspected. But here's where Jaguar really flips the script. She starts talking about Diddy in a totally different way. She says she doesn't believe he's the mastermind people paint him as, and instead suggests he could be a pawn used by forces with way more power and reach. That's her opinion, not proven fact.
Jay-Z is doing this to Diddy now? Is it to keep his name out
the
the
crab? He can't stand being himself, not for 1 minute. That's why he likes assuming other people's lives. He wears them until he outgrows them, and then he finds another persona, crawls into that. I wish somebody would just take him back to Marcy for a visit and drop him off. That would be an interesting homecoming and homegoing. He's the shame of bro.
She describes this strange atmosphere around him, like visitors weren't treated like regular guests. They were made to feel chosen, like just being there was some kind of privilege. And she says that kind of energy can mess with people's heads fast because it turns access into a trap. Jaguar also points to how Diddy spoke about himself, not just as successful, but as elevated. And she claims when someone starts seeing themselves above everybody else, it's a sign they're being fed an illusion. In her eyes, that illusion doesn't build itself. It gets reinforced by a system that rewards ego, silence, and obedience. And once you're deep inside that kind of system, she says breaking free isn't easy at all. Jaguar claims long exposure to power can warp your sense of self, to the point where you perform, speak, and move a certain way for so long. You forget who you really are underneath it all. She said it felt like watching someone confuse influence with divinity, like fame automatically meant purpose, and everybody else was just background noise. She recalled moments where she claims he told people around him they were talented, popular, respected, but still beneath him.
By just being around him. But then again, when you listen to some of the way that he was referring to himself, like talking about he can only compare himself to the Son of God and oh, it's been so long. So I forgot how to I forgot how to get to my tone and I've been rapping so long and listening to myself that I forgot how to be myself. And it's like watching, I don't want y'all sitting here looking like watching Jesus walk on water, learning how
Yeah.
to walk on water. Like,
Yeah, no. Even the fact that he told everyone that y'all are rock stars, y'all are hot. I'm the level of hot. So he's saying, don't ever think you're bigger than me when I'm in the room. I'm like, just that thought process is.
no, just not even that. He was like, y'all hot and I'm lukewarm. Y'all not gonna don't think I'm gonna sit here and let y'all be hot while I'm lukewarm. That's what he said. So basically, what he was saying was, is y'all not doing enough to turn me up. Don't think that I'm gonna let y'all look good and y'all don't work harder at making me look good. But he's referring to himself as God, as the Son of God. Like, I don't know what people want to believe. I don't know why people want to believe what they believe. It's wild to me. It's just kind of crazy to me. I mean, they did what they needed to do in this documentary. The whole objective of this documentary was to blame it all on Diddy. The devil made me do it, blame it all on Diddy, and the rest of the industry is nothing like this. Like when Curtis Jackson sat there in his interview with Robin and sat there and said, I did this because I don't want people thinking that the hip hop community is okay with this kind of behavior. I don't want them thinking that, we're just going to be silent while all of this is going on. Like, we're okay with this kind of behavior. And my thing is huh?
The time. You just gotta listen closely. He believes the hidden cameras were never random or for entertainment. When you reach that level of power, you don't get there without leverage. One favor, two secrets, maybe three advantages over somebody else. According to Gene, Diddy always wanted the upper hand. No matter the situation, no matter the relation.
You want to know the one thing that I'm finding also very interesting that nobody's paying attention to? The presence of that pyramid, that the same thing that the Rock Nation likes to put up, the same hand symbol that the sororities and the fraternities like to use. I'm not going to emulate it because you know exactly what it looks like.
Yep.
The pyramid sign that Diddy was wearing that around his neck. You want to know what I found funny? That there were a bunch of YouTubers that were at that courthouse that were wearing that same, it was a much smaller version, but that same symbol.
Yeah.
I think, and that's the part of this story that makes it possible for people, I think, to graze over the reality of all that's going on. If you just look at it from the salacious celebrity stuff, from pop culture media, so-called this new media, and I'm really not liking that term, this new media, because what it really sounds like is the name of a gang. Like the media is media. Because I'm looking at the people that are falling under it, and they're all the same people that are involved with, creating these propaganda campaigns. But that's exactly what Diddy was saying at the beginning of the documentary. We need somebody that is proficient, or fluent in being able to spin propaganda and narratives. We need social media. I guess that new media, is that what that is? Like, it's if you only look at it from the face value aspect of it, that's one thing. But if you look to the spiritual side of it, it's completely different. It unveils a much deeper agenda.
The message in her eyes was loud and clear. No matter how successful others were, they were never allowed to shine brighter in his presence. If they looked good, she suggests it was treated like their job to make him look even better. To her, that mindset crossed a line. She didn't call it confidence. She called it a hierarchy, a belief that other people exist to elevate one person, not stand alongside them. And she warns when someone starts placing themselves above everybody in the room, that unhealthy dynamic spreads fast. Then she pivoted to the documentaries and the way the story is being packaged. She argued the narrative leans way too hard on presenting one main villain. Like everything wrong in the industry can be pinned on one man and everybody else gets to walk away clean. And that's where her frustration boils over. Because if the behavior was truly unacceptable, she asks, why was it tolerated for so long? Why did so many people know, yet stay quiet until lawsuits and cameras made it impossible to ignore? She claims the silence didn't come from ignorance, it came from benefit.
All about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's some about the music, clothing, movies. They're not going to come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey, buddy, we got you on this tape. And girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not going to show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs. That's when they're going to start talking. And they're not going to be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician.
People stayed quiet because the system was working for them, until it wasn't. Then she goes into symbolism, the repeated imagery, the hand signs, the pyramid visuals, showing up not just on artists, but on commentators and influencers covering the story too. In her view, that isn't coincidence. She suggests it signals alignment, shared language, shared power. And she starts questioning how narratives get shaped in the modern media era. Because what gets framed as exposure can also work as distraction, keep people locked on scandal and celebrity chaos while the deeper systems move untouched underneath. That's when the idea of leverage enters the picture. And as Gene Deal has suggested, silence from powerful figures isn't random. Gene Deal's point is that it's strategic, not accidental. These are people with brands, money, and reputations. And speaking up can cost everything, so most folks choose silence over truth. He explains it like this. When people think they're just having a good time, they might not realize they're being recorded. When substances lower their guard, when the music is loud, when the vibe is set to make people relax, mistakes happen. And Gene suggests those moments can turn into insurance. Not for fun, but for control. Gene believes that's how leverage really works. Not always through force, but through fear of exposure. And once that fear exists, loyalty doesn't matter. Silence does. He says people tell on themselves all the time. You just gotta listen close and watch what they do when they think nobody's paying attention. He doesn't believe hidden cameras are random or just entertainment. He suggests they can be tools when power is the goal. In Gene's view, you don't reach that level without leverage somewhere. 1 favor, 2 secrets, 3 advantages. Enough to make people think twice before stepping out of line. According to Gene, Diddy always wanted the upper hand, no matter the situation, no matter the relationship. He claims it's like chess. Divide people, control the room, repeat the pattern. He even argues that once you've got leverage, you don't have to argue or threaten. You can just wait. Because if you know what people do behind closed doors, you can own the room without saying a word. And that's why Gene says recordings matter so much. Whatever's on them wouldn't just tell one story. It could tie multiple people to the same spaces, the same system, the same source of control. And that's what makes the whole thing so dangerous. Gene also pointed out something people keep skipping right past. Not every gathering was allegedly hosted by Diddy himself. Some were reportedly organized by people close to him, even family members. And that detail changes the whole picture fast. Because if that's true, it widens the circle and shifts responsibility in a major way. It stops being one guy did everything and starts looking like a whole network of access, invites, and protection. Then there's the federal angle, and Gene says that part matters a lot. He stressed that local agencies allegedly didn't kick this off. He claims the Southern District of New York stepped in and moved based on information coming from civil lawsuits, not just online noise. And that's when the story turns political. While all this was unfolding, Gene says federal investigators were also looking into New York City leadership. And at the same time, Diddy was still being celebrated publicly. Keys to the city, praise, connections. Then suddenly you see resignations, officials stepping down, and relationships quietly breaking apart. Gene's view is those dots aren't random. They're connected when power networks overlap. That's why he keeps saying this is bigger than one man, bigger than one case, bigger than one documentary. And if recordings ever surface, the fallout won't stop at one name. It could link multiple people to the same rooms, the same circles, and the same leverage games. So here's the real question. If tapes exist and they connect politics, celebrities, and power, who else is next? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want the next chapter, tap the next video on screen.